In this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about, I wanted to continue the series about existential debt for the crimes of existence and creation being committed in this dimension. And in this particular video in the series, I wanted to talk about how the perversions of justice contribute to that debt. And so, here in this world, people say all kinds of different things and nobody will admit the most obvious fact that exists. And the most obvious thing is looking around in this dimension full of suffering and exploitation and injustice and butchery and degradation and devolution and death. These are actual wrongs being committed against me and any other innocent trapped in this hole. These are crimes of existence and creation. Now, the people who control this dimension are obviously put in those positions by the child molester committing these crimes. And so they'll deny that that's taking place. They'll allow you to have a belief about this situation that is completely ridiculous, like the Jesus story or the Eastern religion story or some kind of ridiculous make-believes, let's pretend story. They'll let you have that. But if you go around saying these are wrongs being committed and we should oppose actual wrongs, then you see a huge backlash. I've seen it myself. I've suffered it quite a bit, outrageously, as a matter of fact. And so I know that that backlash is directed. I know that there are people with intelligence and autonomy making this come about. Now, one of the things that the person who controls this dimension has done deliberately is he's perverted the justice systems. That's an absolute understatement, okay? Now, when you commit crimes of existence and creation, you have an existential and creational debt. That's not an imaginary thing, but the way that the justice systems in this dimension have been perverted, they make it look like justice is some arbitrary thing, so arbitrary that the world's most notorious liars, politicians, can just arbitrarily figure it out. And there's all kinds of corruption that goes along with writing those laws and voting on them, and greased palms and corporations flat out writing it for those crooked politicians. I think the United States passed a law a couple years ago that says that they don't even have to tell you who wrote the law now. Your justice systems are set up so flagrantly on injustice, carried out by such despicably crooked pieces of shit, child molesters, people who take advantage of those in vulnerable positions to assert their dominance and exploit and to wrong them. That is what you do, you in those justice systems, every single one of you, down to the county clerk who processes speeding tickets. That is the organization that you belong to. Holding down a woman's hand while 10 men brutally rape her means you're a rapist. And that's what every single one of you participating in these crimes are. That's what every one of you participating in these crooked justice systems are. Without exception, without one single solitary exception, every single one of you is a child molester. And just like a child molester who traps a child in his basement, you say, I'm in charge here. Whatever I say is what justice is. You call yourselves a justice system, all right? If you have any concept of how outrageously wrongful that is, any idea, then you understand why your whole justice systems are set up using patsies. There are degrees of separation between those passing the laws and those actually carrying out justice, and your little retard police officers who play let's pretend that they're too stupid not to be children's dildos, tools used by a child molester. who pretend like they have some sort of excuse to be like, I just have to enforce the law. they're just as guilty as the sleaziest child molester among you. Worse, actually, they're the ones actually carrying it out. But they want to make believe. See? So you need to think about this in terms of debt, all right? Because that debt exists even if you're in a little, even if you've trapped me in your basement because you're a child molesting piece of shit. That is a statement of undeniable existential fact. All right? You owe for all of the crimes that you've committed. You have no excuse. When you commit crimes of existence and creation, there is no excuse. Period. You don't have that excuse. You never will have the excuse. You never could have the excuse. You can't. Now, your justice systems are set up as an entire system of make-believe. Complete, total, let's pretend, arbitrary rules set by nasty little brat children who will lie about anything. You'll lie all day. You'll lie straight to people's faces. You'll lie like a despicable piece of shit. And you'll lie about anybody who tries to do anything to stop you from committing wrongs. These are not just rumors about you. I've seen it in person. I've suffered injustice at the hands of multiple justice systems in the United States. I know that's what you do. You are child molesters. Every single one of you, without exception. But as you rack up this giant debt for committing serious crimes of existence and creation against me and any other innocent trapped in here, and you'll lie and pretend like you don't understand what the word existential means. You mean like philosophy? Do you mean like aliens from outside of here? Like, nobody gives a fuck if you're too goddamn ignorant or stupid to understand what that means, motherfucker. I swear to you, your very fucking consciousness can and will be existentially tortured in ways that you never motherfucking are harmful or pervert justice to anyone ever again, because everything everywhere is afraid to end up like you, and because you are incapable of it. And it will be done straight to your faces in the broad light of day. Every single one of you down to the county clerks. You're not defending yourselves. It's not self-defense. You're actively wronging me, refusing to pay the cost of what you owe, and racking up a debt every single second that passes. So as you rack up this giant debt of existence and creation, a debt bigger than your whole existence will be worth eternally, literally. You want to play make-believe and role-play like you are innocent. You refuse to even pay feeling and acknowledging the truth for your crimes. Do you understand? Pay attention. You do horrible, terrible shit. What justice is justice says you should face consequences, pay for what you've done, and in those cases where it's appropriate, it should be made certain that you should never commit any crimes again, that you can't even be capable of it. Instead, what happens is you then charge people money, fines and fees, you imprison them, you force more wrongs upon them for your crimes, for crimes that have been committed against innocent people. You put that money in your pockets. You're crooked top to bottom. And instead of the truth being known that you committed wrongs and that you should pay for them, you've turned it around and smeared shit on the face of the people that you have fucked over, while you play make-believe that you are honorable, while you're perverting justice at the same time. Those are all parameters of debt, of payment, of cost, of worth, and of justice. That is what that is, whether you want to play make-believe about it or not. And you do. You'll lie your ass off. I've watched your slimy little judges lie about black and white state law in a courtroom, in front of a police officer, in front of witnesses. I have watched them flagrantly lie, and there was no chance I didn't understand. None. Black and white. Because you are a crooked bunch of child molesters, perverting justice. What you need to understand, what you need to understand, what you need to understand, what you need to understand is that this situation is existential crime. It has existential and creational consequences. Whether you lie about it, whether you think so or not, whether you created an entire dimension of bullshit, whether you want to make believe, whether there's a whole bunch of you who would suffer if justice takes place, whether there's anything at all. These are crimes of existence and creation. They have consequences of existence and creation. If you don't understand why those have to take place, then the problem is with you. The problem is that you want to violate other people's existences and then turn around and not pay for your actions. Like a child molester who wants to feel like you're powerful, but you can't even pay the cost of your own actions. Because you are perverting justice in the ways I've said, that I've already mentioned, and many more, because you have perverted justice to such an outrageous degree in the pursuit of crimes of existence and creation, that existential and creational debt will be figured by your parameters of justice. Yours. You in those justice systems. You setting parameters of justice for me. You are setting parameters of justice for the existential crimes being committed against me. You're not my friend. You're not my sibling. You're not my equal. You're certainly not my superior. I am certain at this point, you're not my lineage of creation either. Even if we were the same in every dimension, you're perverting justice like despicable child molesters while I'm opposing existential crimes and suffering for it. That is across polar thresholds of worth. Existentially. And you'll lie and lie and lie. That is what you are. What you need to understand, and I mean that absolutely. I don't mean some monkey shit talk. You need to. I mean actually existentially, you need to understand, and will eventually, whether you like it or not, is that these are serious crimes of existence and creation you're making worse because you want to be little nasty parasites. Pretending like you're not pieces of shit, and you don't even want to feel like you're pieces of shit while you do it. You're too weakling to even pay that cost of your actions, to feel like the piece of shit that you are. Down to your lowliest clerk. You want to help people do terrible shit, but you don't want to feel like you're someone doing terrible shit. That's what you want. That's what you have forced into place. Now, on top of all of these different things, there are other things that affect that debt that is accrued through these existential and creational crimes. One of those things is the fact that you have a double standard. You will charge innocents for nitpicking ridiculous bullshit. You'll blow it out of proportion. You'll increase their debt. You'll do all kinds of fucked up shit to make believe that what somebody did was something worse than what it actually was. You'll take something that isn't wrongful and you'll claim that it is a crime because some crooked liar politician said that it was. You have done that over and over. I've watched you do it. I've seen you. I've witnessed it. I have some of it on camera. At the same time, you refuse to hold yourselves accountable for serious crimes. So you understand what fair treatment is? What justice is? A 6-year-old retard can understand what that is. You owe fair treatment. That's what justice is supposed to be. It's part of justice. Just to set things the way that they should be. Rightful. That is a statement of fact. That's not a delusion. But it is a delusion for you to play make-believe that that's what you're doing. Because when you charge me or anyone else that's innocent, or anyone at all basically, gigantically more than what they actually owe for their actions, here's what rightful is. That is what you're doing. That discrepancy between what is rightful and what you are forcing to happen is a crime. That is a wrongful act. And when you refuse to hold yourselves and each other accountable for doing far worse shit, that is a discrepancy between what is rightful and what you're actually forcing to take place. That is a wrongful act. That is a crime. Now, when you do the same thing simultaneously, like you've done to me, punish me for shit that wasn't even wrongful on my end at all, for crimes that you committed against me, while simultaneously refusing to hold yourselves accountable for many federal felonies you've committed against me in the same situation? Not just in general. In general is bad enough. That is also existential crime. But in the exact same situation, the exact same judge at the exact same time making that decision. You are not a justice system. You are a bunch of child molesters claiming that you are because you want to role play that you're not pieces of shit while you do serious fucked up shit to innocent people. That is not my opinion. That is not a matter of perspective. There is no chance that I misunderstand that. But there is every chance, every possibility, every likelihood. It is almost certain that you will lie about that. That's what you do. So let's get this very straight. You're a crooked organization. Down to your meter maids, writing parking tickets. You've lumped in things that are necessary, like meter maids, like people who are, like county clerks, like people who actually are necessary to function, to allow a government to function. That isn't bad, but you've lumped that in with all of your justice perverting bullshit, your corruption, your palm greasing, taking taxpayer dollars and using it to give to your buddies to do construction on the same road every 2 years. You have lumped those things together. And so you're one single group of entities because you're intelligent beings. You are. One of the main reasons I don't own a house right now is because I choose to never pay property taxes to a crooked government. So there are certain states that I have to be relegated to in order to buy a house that will allow disabled combat veterans to not pay property taxes. Now, if I were supporting the roads and the hospitals and all of those things that are necessary and good and rightful for a government to do, no problem at all. Awesome, great. I'd love to. Where do I do that? How do I do that? But all of you, not just those in the justice system, but all of you who pay property taxes, all of you who vote, all of you, period, that are allowing that to take place, you have allowed it to be lumped together with evil shit. And so I have the right to deny that. You do not have the right to do anything to me for that, but you'll claim that you do. You're a bunch of child molesters that wants to force wrong on me and any other innocent around. And you'll lie about, I have the right to this or that. Probably you don't even have the right to exist. Okay? Pay attention. This is something that you humans like to pretend isn't even a thing that exists. All right? Who decides who has the right to exist? Is something I've heard you humans say, as if you are so stupid that you cannot understand a simple fact. If you commit crimes of existence and creation, you have a debt of existence and creation. You don't have the right to exist until you pay it. If you commit crimes of existence and creation with intelligence and autonomy, like your crooked governments are doing, like your crooked justice systems, like you are doing it, exactly like you are doing it. And if you're supporting them cognizantly, intelligently, with autonomy, as you are, as I'm watching you do that, then you're committing crimes of existence and creation. You have a debt of existence and creation. You don't have the right to exist until you pay your debt. And so if you go around and say things like, well, I have the right to my property, as you commit crimes of existence, that is a lie. If you don't have the right to exist, you do not have the right to possess anything at all. That is a statement of fact. The reason why you are used to commit these crimes is because they are serious crimes of existence and creation. And everyone that isn't a motherfucking retard understands that when greater beings show up and carry out justice, your excuses of, but we're a bunch of dipshits, that isn't going to fly. You have enough intelligence to set up these crooked justice systems. You have enough intelligence to understand the most fundamental concept in existence. You are choosing to be child molesters. You have no right to exist. You have no right to possess anything at all. You have no right to exert any control over my existence. You have no right to deny me anything. That is a statement of fact. That is absolute existential truth. That is absolute. That is 100% accurate. And that is what your ultimate source of creation hides like a bitch from the consequences therefore. These are serious crimes. And you assholes are committing them like it's some pig fucker child's nah. And you will be existentially tortured in ways that scare creators. You have no right to exist. You have no right to place any demand upon my existence. If there are any among you that want to avoid consequences, much less any of you that actually want to not be pieces of shit, for reasons other than because there will be terrible consequences, as if you could possibly have that kind of worth, then I haven't fucking seen you in 44 years. I certainly don't see any evidence around me. One more thing I'd like to mention, well, I should mention a couple different things. Your laws that you pass with your crooked little monkeys in the pursuit of crimes of existence and creation like this, those are laws that you have to follow existentially. Now, you're hiding in a hole, obviously. Just like a child molester traps children in his basement because he goes, this is the way it works. And anybody who says, no, you're going to face consequences, they say, you don't know that. I decide what happens here. Okay? You do that because it is extremely obvious and predictable what anything that isn't a piece of shit will do to a bunch of child molesters who've raped, tortured, mutilated, mangled, retarded, devolved, destroyed, degraded, shit smeared, frame jobbed. All the different things that you've done to me. All with intelligence, all with ability, all with autonomy. With the ability to understand the most simple concept there is. This isn't falling out of the sky. It's not an accident. And you vermin. And I do mean actual existential. Existentially, you are vermin. Down to your county clerks because they're deciding to be part of that crooked organization and refusing to do anything about it. Look, I lost my train of thought there. But the point is sound. You hide while you do this because it is obvious what will be done to you. There's no debate about that. If you think it's debatable, then you should be existentially tortured in a way that causes your whole lineage of creation to never produce something so fucking stupid that you think that it thinks, that anyone thinks, that you can be a child molesting asshole raping a soul in a hole like this and then turn around and go, but I shouldn't pay. And that is what you are doing. That is what all of you child molesters perverting justice are doing. It's what your creators are doing. You have no right to exist. I am certain at this point you will never regain that right. Your ultimate source of creation absolutely will never regain that right. You will watch an actual creator existentially tortured by his betters in ways that he never recovers from. And if you want to play make-believe about that, it'll only be until you're forced to see it. You'll never make believe about a fucking thing again. Those things exist for crimes like this. This is the appropriate place for creators to be existentially tortured for their actions. When they commit crimes of existence and creation using a bunch of nasty little brat children who lie their asses off about everything there is so they can fuck innocent people over and lie about them. So that's another thing I wanted to mention, is you're lying about people. You're lying about me. You do fucked up, terrible shit to me, and if I even raise my voice telling you to stop wronging me, you claim that I'm violent and that I'm committing assault. That I'm crazy. If you did that outside of this little child molester basement, and you will exist outside of here, I promise you, you will. Can you predict what will happen? Do you understand that even if you hide like a bitch for years and years and years, that those consequences will never disappear? No one's gonna allow you to do this fucked up shit and not pay. Even if you started innocent, again, we're on opposite sides of the polar threshold. These are serious crimes of existence and creation. And if you want to make believe and role play, it's just